Hello and welcome to the Growing Green podcast. Your host, Jeremiah Jennings, is the owner of Growing Green Landscapes in Birmingham, Alabama, and has a passion for growing the entrepreneurship community for those who are young in business. Being a business owner isn't easy, especially in the early years, and that's why in this show we dive into a wide range of topics covering all the challenges small business owners deal with. Even if your company is generating $1 million or more, the stories from our great guest and Jeremiah's own firsthand experiences will propel your business forward. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Jennings.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode today here on the Growing Green podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings, and I'm super excited to be coming to you today with another fresh new episode for you. And thank you for tuning in. It's going to be a really good one today. We have a great guest interview on, and we're not going to waste any time. We're gonna jump into it because I am super excited to have Kory Ballard on with us from Perfect Cut and Ballard Products. Kory, how you doing this morning, buddy?
Doing good, man. I appreciate being on.
I'm excited to have you, man. It's an honor to have you join it, and we've been circling around the same circles. We've seen each other at events for the past couple of years, and we've never just been able to sit down and make the connection and get this lined up. So I'm excited to do it today and bring some really good value to our audience, because I think that we were just talking before we hit record. Like, there's a lot of guys right now, myself included, that are maybe getting the itch to grow a little bit. They're wanting to grow their companies. They're wanting to reach a new level in business, and it's a hard it's a hard point to get through. Like, you do really good building up for yourself. You're a solopreneur. You go out and you generate 100 grand in revenue, 150 grand, and you get to this point and you're like, I'm maxed out. What do? I can't grow anymore with just myself. But how do I don't have enough money to bring on my second person. So sure. You might hear my son back in the background there. He wants to come join us today. But they're at this point to where they need help growing their company. They need help reaching new heights. And so I want you to kind of walk us through, give us the 30-second rundown in case somebody does live under a rock, like literally 30 seconds of what you do, what you've done with Perfect Cut. But then I want to dive into that, of working through those first steps of creating a really good team built around you so you can help grow your company.
Certainly. We can get into that. So Kory Ballard, I'm in Des Moines, Iowa. I started Perfect Cut just with a lawnmower and a moped, kind of like a lot of guys do, and went door to door and grew that, through high school. And then after high school, we, continued to grow that company. And, fast forward 25, 30 years, and I've been doing this a long time, so I'm kind of aging myself. But Perfect Cut is a full service site management company with the branch in Des Moines, Iowa, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and also Omaha, Nebraska. Just shy of with the recent acquisition, we have about 230 employees underneath that umbrella, and but primarily commercial. And we do a lot of commercial snow and ice management as well. And really built an incredible company, an incredible team. And full disclosure, I sold that company to a national in October of 21. I'm still on the strategy team, so I'm still very involved. I don't know, very involved. I mean, still involved in the vision of what the company is trying to be. And even a company with as many years as we have and the size we have, we're still learning. We're still trying to figure out who we are and who's our ideal client, and how do we get the best employees, and how do we retain the best employees, and constantly looking at being the best we can be, and who do we want to serve, and how do we serve them at the highest level, because we're not a low-cost provider by any means. And it, in the beginning, we certainly were for a while. Sometimes you've got to be, sometimes in the beginning, you got to take anything you can. And so cost and price become a huge issue. And as you can build a reputation and really tell your story and sell your clients on why they should use a company like ours, then price becomes less important. So, and as your question, is, it's the same question I talk to a ton of guys about, and I attend quite a few events, and we also have our own podcast, The Green Grind. If you guys ever listen to that, Leroy and I really work hard on getting guys of all sizes on there as well. And, it's been kind of a weird shift, maybe I don't know if COVID had anything to do with it or not, but it seemed like a lot of guys were downsizing for a while, trying to figure out to get that life balance mix. And trying to figure out, okay, I'm working 80 hours. My wife's, extremely frustrated. I'm never home. And so it seemed like for a while, a lot of guys were maybe downsizing and really trying to figure out, what am I good at? What do I want to be? What do we specialize at? And how do I get the best team around me? And, but I get asked the same question, like, how do I grow? Right. And that's an interesting question, because first thing I always ask guys is, why do you want to grow? Well, I don't know. I just want to do more. And I said, well, why? Well, I want to do more commercial. And I always say, why? And it seems like a lot of times guys don't have the answer. Well, I just think commercial would be better. And I'm like, well, why? Are you looking, what are you looking to do? So I think it's important, first off, for guys to understand where they are, where are they today? And where do they want to be? And I'm still old school. I use a paper and pen sometimes. Where am I today? Where do I want to be in 12, 24, 36 months? What hurdles would be in my way? And then what things would I need to do to get there, from, capital, from resources as far as human resources, as far as staffing, what kind of people would I need around me? What type of clients would I need? And how am I going to market and go after those types of clients? So I think first, it's always asking why, because I feel like people sometimes want to grow for the wrong reason. I talk to guys like, well, if I got a little bit bigger, I wouldn't have to be there. I'm like, well, I don't know if that's true. I haven't seen very many people successful, especially in our industry, that aren't really hands-on. And it's a business that requires a lot of leadership, and you've got to be there. And I talk to guys that say, I don't like to be there in the morning. It's just kind of hectic. And I say, man, you got to be there in the morning. You have a chance in the morning to impact your team in a positive or negative way. And man, you got to be in the mix. So, it's a kind of a long answer to where we were, and then to growth. And we can dig into that more as far as hiring those people. But I think first off is why, and then is your, let's just assume you're married, male or female, or even just in a relationship. Is your partner, significant other, are they on board as well?
That's huge, yeah.
Yeah, are they on board with your vision? And what does that look like? And what does it look like from, hey, to your wife, hey, babe, I may make a little bit less money, but we're going to re-inject a lot of the profits back into the company. We need some equipment. We may need a little nicer facility. So we're going to have to make some sacrifices along the way, and really making sure that everybody's on board, and what is the game plan and what sacrifices are we going to have to make to get there, and how long is that going to take? And, I may have to work Saturdays, I may have to work Sundays, and how do I balance that? As I mentioned earlier, what's that work-life balance look like? Because, a lot of guys think too, if they just double their business, they're going to double profit. I can guarantee you that's not true, right? There are certainly different thresholds in your business where you'll become more profitable, then less profitable, then more profitable again as you grow, and you maybe need that admin person, and then maybe you need a project manager or a production manager or a field manager. And as long as you know those things up front and say, hey, okay, this year we're going to add a little bit of extra overhead. We might not be as profitable, but I know that by doing these things, we're going to be geared up to hit the gas pedal next year because we're going to have the infrastructure in place. And so I don't know if that answers your question on that. It's kind of a long answer, but, I always go back to the why. And then, the main thing is, what are you passionate about? What is your goal? Is it to help people? Is it to serve clients? And if it's just to make money, that's not a bad thing, because we are for profit. We all should be. And I encourage everybody to make money, but make sure that it's for the right reasons. Because as you grow, you have to change as a leader, and you're going to have to, there's a lot more stress that comes with that. And what is your capacity for pain? Because growing a company is painful, and running a successful company is painful. And so what is your tolerance for pain, and how do you manage the good days and the bad days?
I think that's huge. I think that's something that, like you're saying, a lot of people look over. They say they want to grow, and then they jump straight to, how do I hire? When do I hire? What do I do? They never stop and ask themselves, why do I grow? And we try to ask that on the show all the time. Like, what is your why? and the importance of knowing what your why is, and also creating that vision, like you're saying, 3 to 5 years from now, because whether you like it or not, this decision you make tomorrow is going to affect the outcome 3 years from now, potentially. Yeah. And you get stuck in this, like, I think it's easy for guys to hit the spring rush and work's coming in like crazy and you're shorthanded and you just go out and find a body that'll work. Like anybody that'll sling mulch, you're going to bring them onto the team and they're going to work for 3 months, and then you're going to realize they weren't a good fit and you're going to fire them. And then you're going to get in this cycle of doing that because you're in the middle of the season and you got to get work done. And what do? Like you can't afford to not have people there. Where if you stop and ask yourself in January, like we're about to be in right now, what is our why? Why do we want to do this? Where do we want to go in three years? Where do we want to go in 12 months? Like if you can figure that out and start early, get ahead of the game on the hiring, the vetting of people that are out there, then it's like, how do I go about bringing on the right people in January, February, March to get ahead of the game? And so, sure. What is your take on that? Do you think guys should be hiring now, like looking ahead to the spring rush, because getting those key people in early on, so then you're stocked, ready to go for spring, but you're also doing that in a time where you can think about the person you're hiring and actually vet them correctly. You're not just trying to sling mulch in the middle of spring rush.
Yeah, that's a tough one, because what a lot of times guys will say, and I remember being there, and we would start running ads in, say, February and looking for people, and then we would interview people and we would hire them, and then we'd say, oh, by the way, we'd love to hire you, and here's the orientation packet, here's your paperwork, but by the way, we don't start till April 1st. And they're like, so I'm hired, but I don't start for 6 weeks? Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, that's not going to work. I got to go get another job. And then we call them April 1st, and they're like, hey, Kory, man, I really appreciate the opportunity, but I had to go get a job because you offered me. And so 2 pieces of that. I mean, first off, it's so important if you can figure out a way, if you already have employees, if you can keep them on in the winter. And that just depends on what region you're in. Do you do snow and ice services? Are you able to save enough during your peak season to keep your guys employed, or having conversations with them about, some guys are okay with taking unemployment. They might have some home projects. They may spend some time with their kids. Maybe they like to go hunting and fishing wherever you're at. But, if you lay off all your people, I don't care if you have 2 guys or 20, if you lay them off every December 1st and you expect those guys to all come back April 1st, I got news for you. It's not going to work. They're not going to come back. And we played that game for many years, and we would call them and holy shit, only 6 of the 20 guys were coming back. Mm. And now we are rushing to find people. And so what we did is we interviewed everybody and we threw them a t-shirt and threw them in a truck. Right. And we didn't do quality interviews. We didn't ask the right questions. We just, hey man, this guy or gal, they can walk, talk, and tie their shoes. Let's go. Let's get them in a truck. And so, even as a small guy, even if you're hiring your first or second guy, I think it's important I think guys just lack so much in communication, but I think it's important that you talk about the job, be very clear about the work, the hours, the responsibilities, what your expectations are, but also about who you are and where you're trying to take the company and what that means for them. They need to know, what does that mean for me? And, hey, Joe, if you do a great job and I can train you to be a foreman, I will keep you on this winter. We may keep you on at 32 hours a week instead of 40. Can you make that work? Yeah. And a guy may say, but I can make that work. I might do some part-time, I might do something part-time just to make ends meet, but I can make that work. And so, but, being very upfront, I think, guys don't want to have tough conversations and they try to avoid them. But I think there's a big problem with our industry on the small side, where guys just aren't very open and honest about the job, and then also about expectations. And then, if you're small, you probably don't have a good training program. So how do we get this guy or gal up to speed so that they can go out and do the job effectively and safely so they don't get injured? So, yeah, I think it starts with communication. And I see so many ads. I'm sure you do too on Facebook, and I hate it. And I say this all the time. And if you're doing this, well, I don't apologize. It's like need 3 laborers tomorrow.
Yeah.
Must have experience. I'm thinking that's your game plan.
Mm-hmm.
You need 3 people tomorrow. So what if you don't get any? What was the plan?
Yeah.
And or I see the ads where must have 3 years experience, must have CDL, must have a 3OT license or pesticide license, and I'm thinking you've just eliminated 90% of the people that might be looking for work because it's very, very hard to find those people. And so we switched our model to we're looking for high quality individuals.
Yeah.
We will train them. Now, it definitely takes longer to make them a quality employee as far as the actual work goes. But I'm looking for people with, solid core values and ethics. And what are they, asking tough, good questions. What do they do in their free time? Do they coach Little League? What do they go to church? What's the last book they've read? What are they passionate about? When were they in a tough situation and how did they resolve it? And so we're always looking for whether you got one guy or 50 guys, we've slowed the process down and really started looking for quality individuals. And then we can train them in our system because we have training. And even if you're small and you say, well, I don't have a great training system. Well, if maybe you're working side by side with them and that is the training. But you're going to keep those people longer than just the guy that you just throw up, a t-shirt to and a hat. And he jumps in the truck and now he's slinging mulch or he jumps on a mower. And so when you hire fast, you lose them fast. And so I would rather interview 10 people and hire one, than interview 10 and hire 9 of them. And we started looking at our turnover rate. And at one point, Perfect had a 50% turnover rate. And we started looking at how much time that was costing us and how much energy and how it looked to the people that were with us. I get a new guy every day and I get no consistency with my crews. And then our work quality, of course, suffers because we're sending people out, that aren't trained. And so, I just think it starts with looking for what type of individuals are you looking for? And when people say there's nobody out there that wants to work, that's bullshit. That's not true. Our team is completely full. My buddy Leroy Maines, who's on the green grind with me, his team's full. Great companies find great people. They just do. When Chick-fil-A builds a new, they're building a new one right down the street from me right now. They're not sitting around going, man, I hope we can find people. They know they're going to get high quality people because they have a system and they have a reputation and they have core values and they know that they're going to hire quality individuals to run that store the day it opens. So, long answer again. I hope that, but it starts with what are you looking for? And if you hire shitty people, you get shitty results.
Yeah, that's good. That's good right there. There's no need to sugarcoat it because it is what it is. And I think that's what people get caught up in is they just get up in that, like you're saying, that hire fast, and you're gonna have to realize you're gonna fire fast if you do that. You're gonna or you're gonna hire fast and you're not gonna fire fast, and that's gonna just end up hurting your company in the long run. And I've gone through that. Yeah,
it's fear because it's like, man, I really need this guy or gal go. But holy smokes, man, I have nobody to replace them. So I'm going to let this person who is not a high quality performer, maybe they're cancer in your organization. They have a bad attitude. Nobody wants to work with them. But there's fear, right? Like they're better than nobody. But I would challenge you, are they? And you look weak as the owner or the leader if you allow this person to stay and everybody knows that person shows up late, they have a crappy attitude, they're not good on your equipment, and you allow it, then they start saying, well, I guess our expectations are negotiable. Yeah. I guess we don't really have to be on time because he doesn't fire Jim and he doesn't fire Joe and they're late every day. So really, I don't really need to be on time. He's not going to fire me. I've been here 2 years. We don't really have to clean out the trucks every day. We don't really have to do quality work because they don't fire anybody anyways. And so, if you want to change the culture, you got to change the expectations. So, and it starts with one guy. And people say, well, that's easy for you to say when you got a bunch of people. Not really. It's even easier when you have 1, 2, 3, 5 guys. It should be very easy. And maybe you don't have a fancy handbook, but you have very open communication of this is what I expect, guys. This is what we do every morning. When we come back, we clean out the trucks, we unload the equipment, we fuel, whatever your procedures are. This is the expectations I have. And once you do them every single day, they just become habit, right? And everybody just knows that this is what we do. And then when the new guy starts, he just fits right in because he sees this is just how we do it. We clean the shop floor every day, and we whatever your procedures are. And you've got to be consistent with them too. And it can't be like, well, we usually do that, but man, we're slammed and it's spring, so we'll do that later. And what do you expect out of your people? And then as a leader, are you leading by example? You can't say everybody's in uniform and our shirts are tucked in and we don't smoke on job sites. And then you show up and your shirt's not tucked in, you got ripped jeans on and you're smoking in the company truck. Are you following as the leader? Are you following all of the things that you laid out so that they can see you as an example? And, are you organized in the morning, and are you running around kicking gas cans and throwing a temper tantrum when things don't go well? Because that creates chaos. People want to work in a place, they like systems. And then, also giving a lot of attaboys when people are doing a good job and walking up and saying, hey, Joe, man, you're really kicking ass. I love what you're doing, man. I'm proud of you. Keep doing it, man. It doesn't go unrecognized. And you give a guy a $25 gift card, right? Just occasionally. I keep gift cards right here in my top drawer. I got piles of them, stacks of them. And I just walk around sometimes and hand a guy a $50 gift card and say, hey, man, you've been doing a great job this week. I saw you pitched in, did a little extra. That stuff goes so far. It doesn't cost, it costs me so little to do that. And just shake a guy's hand and just say, man, I really like what you're doing here, man. I got a future for you. And so long answer again, but that's, those are the things that you have to do if you want to get high quality people, and they got to know that there's a future. And if you don't give them a future, somebody else is gonna.
Exactly.
Some give them, I'm not, we're looking for people to build careers and not jobs. And again, I know the small guys like, well, easy to say, I don't have the revenue to support it. But you'll never have the revenue to support it if you don't, and you'll never have the right people if you don't start making those changes right from the beginning.
That is fantastic. I think there's a couple different things I want to go down here, but I don't want to miss this, what you said there. Like, it costs you so little, that gift card does. People, business owners, entrepreneurs, you have to change your mindset to think bigger. You cannot think about the $50 that you're losing in your pocket that day. You have to think about the value you're adding to that employee. The value that he realizes that you noticed him, which is like what a lot of guys are looking for. They're looking for, it's like, how many times have I heard you talk about this on the Green Grind or any stage you've been on? Do a poll. It's not necessarily money that keeps people around. That's not their number one reason.
Money's like, in the top 10 reasons, money's like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Yes, they've got to be compensated fairly, but it's not number one. And if a guy leaves you for $1 an hour more, first off, he might not have been your guy in the first place, but then you didn't do all the other things that you need to do that made him feel valuable, respected, like he can make a difference. So when people say, well, he left me for 50 cents or he left me for $1, I say, what'd you do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. I said, oh, you did. And when people leave our company, we always say, how could we have been better? Yeah. And even doing exit interviews, I don't care if you got a few guys, when somebody leaves, you can ask them like, hey, Joe, I know you left. Maybe this wasn't the right fit. Can you just tell me, like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. What did we screw up on? And he might say, you know what? I was in a truck with so-and-so and I didn't feel safe. And he was smoking weed in the truck. And you're like, whoa, okay, we got another problem. Or, this isn't the job you told me. Hey, I need to do a better job in the interview. Or, and sometimes it just doesn't work, right? A guy thinks he can cut it. He goes out there and it's 95 degrees and he's like, holy shit, this ain't for me. Yeah. But asking them questions, and I just always, when people leave, first thing I do is say, how could I have done better? And I think I've mentioned a lot of times when we hire people, first day that they start, we make sure their supervisor's there when they get back. And we say, Joe, how was your first day? Man, it was pretty good. I got my ass kicked. I'm like, yeah, it was tough out there. Go home, man, get some hydration, get a bite to eat. I can't wait to see you in the morning. You knuckle bump him. Then at week 1, they meet with their supervisor again, and we say, hey, Joe, is this the job we told you it was going to be? Do you feel safe? Have we trained you? Do you feel like you're getting trained properly? Are you being treated well by the other people here? And so when we started doing that, we realized, because what we figured out was we were losing a lot of our people in the first 30 days. And we thought, well, how can we be better? And so first day, if they think about this, the first day a guy works for you and he comes back and he comes rolling in your shop at 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, and just nobody's there. And he clocks out and he looks around and just no one's there. Or if you have a chance, you as the owner, ideally, or if you're big enough, you have a supervisor, but man, you say, hey man, how was your first day? Like I said, and man, I know you're burnt out, man, you're going to be sore for a couple of days, make sure you bring some sunscreen tomorrow, whatever it may be. But then the 1 week check-in, and then we do a 30-day check-in. And by doing those, we feel like we can get ahead of things much quicker, and find out, if this is the right job for them. Again, are they safe? Are they being trained? How can we make them better? And sometimes we also find that now we have enough size that they're like, you know what, I don't think mowing's for me, but I think there's some other opportunity. And we're like, yeah, would you like to go over to the enhancement side or maybe our floral division? And they say, you know what, I think I'd like to do that. Or so we have the opportunity at that point, instead of losing them, maybe there's a better fit for them in our company, and maybe we have a better chance to move them around. So again, that's just recognizing people, man, just an attaboy. It's not, maybe you don't have gift cards, but pick up 8 gift cards for $25 and just have them in your truck. And just occasionally, when you see a guy going up and beyond, just pat him on the back, or, run out to the job site and hand, deliver some Gatorade on a hot day, and, shake everyone's hand, see if you can get, if there's anything you can do to help them. Those little things just go a long ways. When that guy goes home and he got his ass kicked and he's thinking, I don't want to go back there tomorrow. If you do the right things, he'll be like, you know what, I work for a good company. I'll be back tomorrow. And, and that's the things you got to do, because small or big, if you've got some A players on your team, you better figure out a way to keep them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You got to figure out how to make them stick around. And I think something you hit on earlier was good, is one thing that I've realized in bringing on guys, we've gone through some bad apples. We've had people that stayed longer than they should have. And I've tried to say this as long as I can, almost in every aspect of life that I've been in your faith, in just your morals in general. Bad always brings good down. Good rarely brings bad up.
Yep.
And you have to realize that in your company. Like, if you have a top A player and you put a bad person in there with them, and you say, oh, the good player's going to bring them up, it's probably not going to happen. Like, it's just probably not. And so it's going to turn in, like you're saying, that bad person is going to be way more of a cancer to that good person than that good person is going to be a help to that bad person. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you're at that position, like, it's hard. It's like you're saying, Kory, like, we got stuff to do. We got mulch to sling. We got grass to cut. Whatever the situation is, I know it's hard. You feel like you don't have anybody there to back them up. Do not let somebody get inside your company and rot it from the inside out.
Yeah, and I'll say one more thing on there, Jeremiah. Sometimes we've seen underperformers, or guys in the morning, guys or gals, they got their head down in the corner. And I can tell you, Dustin, who runs my mowing department at Perfect Cut, I was going to fire that guy 3 or 4 times. I mean, he should have been fired so many times. And I got another guy who was a convicted felon. He was a drug addict, and he went to jail and he got out. I mean, I have so many people that are so good today, but that we've sat down with them, though, and just said, hey, man, what's going on?
Yeah.
And how you? My wife and I are going through some tough times. I'm behind on my car payment, whatever. And just say, you know what, man, I get it. I don't know that I can, maybe you can help financially. Maybe you can't. That's a whole other, we could have an hour conversation about that.
Yeah.
I used to loan people money and it would get really crazy.
Be careful.
Yeah, be careful. But sometimes you just got to bring them in and say, what's going on? Can I help you? And I'm struggling at home. And it's like, I get it. How about this? Let's go out and kick butt today. When you get in, can I spend a few minutes with you tomorrow? When you get in tonight, I'll be here. You guys should be back about 5:30. When you get in today, let's just talk. And you can share a little bit of experience, strength, and hope with them a little bit, and say, hey man, I know you're struggling at home, or I know you're a little bit behind on your car payment. Can I help you a little bit? What's dragging you down, whatever it may be. Maybe they didn't have any good mentors in their life, or maybe they're just used to being shit on all the time. And they think, sometimes they play that victim all the time. And I can tell you, we have made some really questionable people into some of my best employees today. That absolutely, I love them. They love me. I tell the story. Bobby was, I'm going to our Christmas party today at noon, but last Christmas he came up to me. He's like, Kory, I just bought a house. And I'm like, what? And he was in prison. He's like, I just bought a house. I mean, he had tears running down his eyes. He hugged me, and I'm like, fucking A, that's where it's at. Yeah. Like, holy shit. And I just like, dude, I'm so proud of you. And he's like, you did this. I go, no, you did this. You put the work in. You showed up every day. We just gave you the tools to succeed here. And we just loved on him and loved on him and loved on him until he loved himself enough to just feel like he was a part of something. So don't give up on people too quick. I hear this all the time. He's a dipshit. He doesn't want to work. You know what? Maybe he is. But what if they just need a little bit of love? They just need a little bit of guidance. They just need someone to tell them it's going to be okay. And they need someone to just tell them, I care about you and I'm here to help you. And I will work with you through this. And let's set some short-term goals and I'm going to help you. And, and those are the things that you can do. And especially when you're small, because you become pretty good friends with them. When we were small, I was in guys' weddings. I knew their wives and kids. And that can get you in trouble later, by the way, because then it can kind of muddy the water. So Be careful. Man, those guys, you're only as good as your best people. And so you've got to love on them. I think today you got to love on your people more than ever, because I don't know about your market, but up and down the street, there's about 6 landscape companies and they're all hiring, right? Mm-hmm. They can leave it's not like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do if I leave here. There's a ton of jobs, right? Everybody's hiring. Amazon just built a new distribution center here. You can go drive a forklift with 401k and healthcare for $22 an hour right now. Yeah. So you want to cut grass for 18, hotter than shit outside, or you want to go drive a forklift in the air conditioning for 22? Yeah. You better create a culture that keeps that guy working for you.
Yeah, you have to be that. You might just have to be that listening ear to that person. And that's when I say bad brings good down. I don't mean don't care about them. I don't mean like you have to, if they are showing signs of that, like you have to give them time and attention and put in effort to help them. And then if they reject that over time, then you have to make that hard decision to promote them onto a new company. But you have to make sure that you do give that effort. So this has been a really, really good conversation, Kory. I want to transition a little bit to putting some systems and processes in place. This is something that I think a lot of guys are struggling with, and it's going to hinder serious growth for them if they don't figure out how to do it. And I think it's overcomplicated because a lot of guys just don't know what to do. They don't know how to do it in the early days. And so I say this is I'm not trying to age you by saying it was a long time ago for you. I just know that you've moved on and you've done a lot of different things. So this is like, it's not at the forefront of your mind how you started, however long ago you started Perfect Cut. But think back, if you don't mind, to those beginning days. And when you brought on your first 2-3 guys, like what were those systems and processes that you really saw help you transform your company into growth mode? Because as little as like what you're saying, you come in and you mop the shop floor in the afternoon. Like, what did you do, or what do you recommend from what you've seen and maybe done wrong over time, of some first things to help guys do that? And it doesn't have to be groundbreaking stuff, but it has to be something that, like you're saying, you start it with your first 1 or 2, and then when your third guy comes on, it's just your 1 or 2 is doing it, and they just hop in and do it, and there's no questions asked. Even if they don't like doing it, the other 2 are doing it, and so you just do it. And also, if you don't mind, and I know this is packed, we'll unpack it, but how do you navigate going through and implementing these when you've had guys for 1, 2, 3 years and you've never done any of it? How do you get that through to them effectively?
Yeah, so that's the loaded question, because if you and I can tell you, as we've implemented more and more procedures and processes and accountability, we've lost some people that had been with us 5, 10, 15 years because they're like, well, that's not the way it used to be. And we say, well, I know, right? But the company's changed, and the rules here have changed, and we no longer allow that, and there's more accountability. And when we do that, everybody wins, and it makes a safer workplace. And by the way, look, you want it to be like it used to be, right? Well, you used to make $11 an hour. Now you make $50,000 a year. So which you can't ways. And so, so the beginning of your question though is I can tell you that we weren't very good. I don't think we were very good until we might have been to 20 employees. We didn't have a good handbook. I had this shitty handbook that I tried to put together. We didn't have a good handbook. We didn't have a good hiring process. People made different money based on kind of what they needed. So if a guy needed, X dollars, we gave it to him. And then so you would have, and what happens is guys talk, and even when we can't talk about what they make, but then it's like, well, why is Jim making $18.50 and I make $13.50 and he makes $19.50 and I've been here 3 years and she's been here 4. And so, I think it starts with, several things, because I'm telling you, we were horrible at it. We were really good at selling work and we were really good at getting work done. We were horrible at the back end. We didn't bill on time. We didn't collect on time. We were not good at the HR side at all. It's amazing we made it through it, to be honest. And I think we did that with just sheer hard work and maybe a little bit of luck.
Do you want to keep the cash flowing this winter? Head over to L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com and check out all of Brian Fullerton's new courses and powerful resources to get you cashing in on that white gold through plowing snow. The snow plowing training course is easy to understand, and you'll learn what it takes to do the job effectively and how to bid, price, and estimate snow plowing for both residential and commercial properties. L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com has 3 new resources to take the hassle and guesswork out of securing your snow removal jobs. Plus, there's eye-catching marketing materials that can help you secure new clients quickly. Ready to crush the snow game this year? Visit L'EntrepreneurAcademy.com or use the link in the podcast description.
Because we had some people get injured on jobs, and we had no safety procedures and no training programs. And so, I think it starts with from a simple and just simplifying it down as first off, what do the jobs pay? What does a foreman make? What does we call it like a crew helper make, a secondary helper? What do they make? So outline a pay structure, and there could be a small variance in there. It could be, in today's market, maybe it's 18 to 20, depends on where you are. A foreman makes 18 to 20. A secondary guy makes, 14 to 17. And, but figure out, what are you paying and what skill sets do they need to have? Driver's license, no driver's license. Does it pay more to have a driver's license? Well, I think it should in most companies, even if they don't drive, just the ability that they can drive, and there's some upward mobility for them. And then outlining what are their roles and responsibilities. Because I hear this, I told so-and-so this, and I told him that. Well, so he just chose not to do it, or was it unclear? Because I find it very hard to believe that a guy that knows what's expected of him would just choose not to not to clean the trash out of the truck. I told him they clean the trucks out every day. And then you go out to the parking lot and all your trucks have fast food wrappers in there and a Mountain Dew bottle and a chew can. So you told them, and they just said, I don't think I'm going to listen to Jeremiah today. I'm just not going to do it. So is it in writing? This is what you do. This is what we expect of you. Here's the hours of our work. If you give PTO, here's how you request PTO off. We expect a 48-hour notice or whatever it may be. But the better you can be, the more clear you can be. I think guys think it just protects you as the owner, but it also protects them. It's a win-win. Everybody needs to know, what am I doing? When a guy walks in your shop at 7 a.m. and he just stands there and he says, what do you want me to do today? And you're like, I don't know. Why don't we change the blades on mower number 4? And I don't know. Hook up the trailer. And he's like, okay. Like, versus having, like, when you get in, this is what we do every day. I come in, I clock in, I load my truck, I check the fuel, I do a walk around, I check the brake lights, whatever it may be in your company, right?
What you're saying here is what I think could make or break somebody's company as far as growth goes. Because guys are searching for routine and just something that they know they do every day. And when they feel like when what is to be done is relying on what you tell them to do for that day, that's the issue right there. Because what do you do if you're laid up in a hospital and you can't tell them what to do?
Yeah. What if you got to meet a client for coffee and you're not there in the morning, so they all stand around? There has to be a morning procedure. Here at Ballard, when we get in, everybody knows what to do. And then at the end of the day, they restock, they sweep, they put the forklifts away, they put them on the charger. There's a whole procedure. They lock the bay. I mean, there's a whole procedure that I don't have to be here and wonder if, I wonder if the forklifts are on the charger today. They just do it every day because that's just what we do. I know that the shop will be up every day. I know that the garbage goes out every morning. When Johnny gets in every morning, he takes all the garbages out before anybody gets here. He's the first one here every day. He takes all the garbages out and empties them. There's just procedure. And so I don't have to go, hey, Johnny, we can empty the garbage today? And he's like, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it. Like, what people love, they like a process. They want to know what they're doing. And if you don't lead from that, and if you don't know what you're doing, it's like, well, shoot, we were going to do this, but I don't know, man, I'm not sure. What do you think we should do today? And it's like, I don't know. And so now you're going to have days where maybe it's raining and you're like, you know what? Change of plan today, guys. It's raining. We're going to do some routine maintenance on the equipment today. I'm going to get everybody out of here at noon. All right. We're going to conquer and divide a little bit. Or, hey, everybody is going home today. Or, hey, we got a couple small enhancement jobs we can go do because it rained. We can't mow today. So you're going to have to shift a little bit, right? But with clear direction, people won't work in chaos very long. They just won't. They're going to go home and say, you know what? This place is kind of a clusterfuck. Yeah. And I don't really care how much they pay me. Every day I go in, it feels different. People like routine. And I promise you, if you put it in place as the owner or the leader, it just makes your life easier. It's a win-win.
I think there's a level to that we didn't say. Good people like routine. People you want to stay on your team like routine. Now, the guys that are going to be the cancer to your company love we'll just come in here, we'll work 30 minutes this morning, and then you go about your day. Like, they like that because to them, they're milking the clock. They're not having to work hard. Like, they're doing that. But guys that are top A performers want what you're saying. They want that routine. They want that. They know they're being productive.
Absolutely. And it's pretty easy to tell them apart. When you have good systems in place, and it's also easier to have a conversation with the guy when he's not performing well. Yeah. If you have an outline, otherwise you're like, Jim, you're not doing very good. And well, can you give me some examples? You're like, well, not really. It just seems like I'm standing around. He's like, well, I'm standing around because nobody knows what to do here. So it's hard for you to elevate. And when a guy asks for a raise, when someone says that, I really like a raise. What is it based on? I mean, is it typically it would be, okay, well, I'll give you a raise, but I'd like to give you some more responsibilities. I'd like you to be here a half hour early. And every morning I'm going to have you empty the trash. I'm going to have you make sure the trucks are cleaned out, make sure everything's fueled up before anybody else gets here, service the mowers, whatever it works in your organization. But when we give raises, there has to be something that goes with it. I don't like raises just based on tenure. Well, I've been here 3 years. Okay, but did you gain any skill set? Are you doing any more than you did? Maybe because sometimes the longer a guy's with you, actually the lazier he gets because he knows we can get away with. So I don't believe in raises based on tenure. I believe raises should be based on performance, responsibility, attitude, leadership. How do they treat the other employees? But if you don't outline those things, I don't know how you can give adequate employee reviews. Sorry, hold on.
You're good on my side. It's still coming through.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
I got a phone.
No.
It's like minimum screen.
No. You're good. You came through. I mean, yeah, that's right. How much value do you add to the company? At the end, what value have you added to the company since you've been here? That's how I think a good way to look at adding bonuses or whatever, raises. Yeah, man, this has been super packed. I don't want to hold you too long. Maybe another 5 minutes or so. What are some things going into 2024 that you would encourage guys to just maybe tighten up on their companies or get in check? Aside from what we've already talked about, I think this is huge. The people, the process, those are two of your main components. What is it that you would give, just broad words of wisdom or advice, whether it be marketing or production or sales or whatever it is, man? Just I want to hear from you and what your outlook on the next couple of years are.
Yeah, it's a good question because there's so much, right? And I talk to so many people and, um, again, I go back to, who's your company today? What is your company today? And where do you want to take it? And what are the things that you're going to have to do to get there? And in today's world, there's so much information out there, and choose wisely because there's some stuff out there I don't think is all right. But
Yeah.
there's great podcasts, there's great books, there's great networking where you can get a lot of information as a business owner. But I also think that a lot of guys think, it depends on the market you're in, but they kind of just put things on cruise control in the winter. Like they don't do much. The winter is the perfect time to look at your software. Is my software adequate? Is my pricing right? Go back and really look through your pricing. Do I have the right equipment for next year? And we go through every single piece of equipment. We service it. We touch up the paint. We replace the seats if it's ripped. I'm talking mowers, but, going through all of our equipment to make sure I know guys, they pull their equipment out March 15th and they want to get ready to go and then this stuff's not ready. And so, and then again, marketing. If you're trying to get new clients, if you're going to wait till March 15th, it's too late. So when to market, but also identifying like, if I want to grow 10%, what does that look like? What type of clients do I want? Where would they be located? How am I going to get those clients? What type of marketing would I use? Or maybe it's some phone calls, and do I know any people, do my current customers, can I get some sort of referral program? There's just a lot of things that have to happen. People always say like, I bet it's nice in the winter, you guys aren't busy. And I'm like, the winter is actually our busiest time. Once we get into the season, that's just doing the doing. We're just doing the work. In the winter, it's contract renewal and, budgeting and equipment allocations. And are we ordering new equipment? Some stuff, we just ordered a new tractor, a new John Deere tractor, and tell us it's going to be 6 months. If you need equipment, have you made sure that your supplier has it? We're pre-pricing our fertilizer. We're trying to see if we can save 20 cents a bag. We're pre-pricing our mulch. Are we getting the best price on our mulch? So we're negotiating pricing for the upcoming season. We're doing a lot of things. I know that's on a kind of a bigger level, but even as a small guy, I feel like in the winter, everybody just puts everything on. They just kind of shut down. You can shut down a little bit, maybe between Thanksgiving and New Year's, and then you better get your ass going.
Yeah.
You better get busy and figuring out, do I have all my contracts renewed? Have I, if you're a small guy, maybe you make a phone call to each client and just say, hey, Mr. Smith, I know you've been with us 3 years, just making sure we're good to go for this year. I sent you a letter. Are you doing price increases? If you're not, man, I don't know. The last couple of years, if you haven't done price increases, I would be interested to see your bottom line.
Yeah,
it's been tough.
The ball. Yeah.
And guys, I hear this all the time. I can't raise my prices. I'm going to lose all my customers. You're not. If you're doing a quality job, and I'm not talking doubling your prices, but if it's a $60 mow, can you get 65? Can you get 70? If you've done a good job, you can.
Yeah.
And if you cancel, then they don't see you as a value in the first place, and you probably have the wrong customers. So, I just encourage guys to really look at also the systems. So many guys aren't using software. I don't care what software you use. There's tons of it out there. But look at some sort of CRM, something that's going to help you with your routing, your billing, your proposals, your payroll, all the things that you need to do. It's fairly inexpensive. There's some stuff that's even free. I think Yardbook might be free.
Yeah. Yep.
I think guys are, they have a fear like, I don't know much about software and I just do it this way. It's like, well, you can do that, but then don't plan on growing. And that's the thing. People, I think there's fear. And so if you want to grow your company, you better have a clear vision. You better lay it out. Again, I'm old school. I write stuff down all the time. And I'm like, we're here today. This is where I want to be. And what do we need to do to get there? And, and I also self-reflect on myself. What am I good at? What are the things that I'm probably not doing as well as I should? And who can help me here? Is there anybody in my company that can help me with these things that I'm not good at? And if not, who would I need to help me? And so, I think sometimes in a small business, guys think, well, I know all. I'm a micromanager. I know everything. I wear every hat in this company. And man, if you have that mentality, it's going to be really tough to grow because it's gonna be tough to keep those good people.
And it's going to be hard to bring other people, some type of office admin or anybody else on that's going to be at a higher level than just straight up production, because all the stuff is in your head. You're not going to be able to tell them how to do anything. And that's
exactly,
like, we're working through that right now. My wife's trying to come into the company more. And it's like the last 3 years, it's all been in my head. So how do we make that change? How do we document? And so that's why I'm so passionate about this stuff, because I know I'm not the only one. I know that so many guys out there that are right on the verge of big growth and doing big things. And it doesn't have to be scaling to a massive company, but just growing internally. Like there's a whole conversation there. I loved y'all's podcast that you did with Cornell. We actually did a show after that, because I was like, I want to get on and talk about the difference between growing internally versus scaling. I think there is positives to both. There's a whole other conversation to be had there. So I love that stuff.
When I talk to guys about growing, we always say it doesn't mean you're growing top line all the time. You're growing as an individual, and you're becoming a better leader so that you can scale. And again, not everybody wants a $1 million company or $2 million or $5 million or $10 million. And not everybody's built to run one of those. Just being 100% honest. Yeah. Not everybody has skill set to do that. And that's okay. You can make a great living running a couple crews, maybe one crew. What do you want to do? What are you good at? And focus on it. I think a lot of times guys get distracted too and sidetracked, where it's like, well, I'm going to start doing landscaping. I'm like, what do you know about landscaping? Well, nothing, but it seems like there's a lot of money in it.
Yeah.
You're really good at mowing. Be really, really good. We had Blake Albertson on, and Blake's like, I'm just really good at mowing. We got route density. We got great clients. We're just really good at mowing.
Yeah.
I'm not a hardscaper. I'm not going to pretend to be one. And I like that, because it'd be very easy as your customers say, hey, can you put a patio in? And you're like, I think we can. Now you're a hardscaper now you're putting patios in and you don't know what you're doing. And so, focus on what are you good at? What do you want to be great at? And then hone in on that first, and then you can expand. I mean, Perfect Cut, we started just mowing, right? And then our customers were saying, I wish you could do our irrigation. It's like, okay, we're going to learn that skill. And my deal is I try to hire people smarter than me and better than me. Yeah. And some owners have a fear, like they want to hire people that kind of keep them down. I want to hire people smarter than me. I'm not the smartest guy at this company. I have a good vision, and I have a broad skill set that I can apply, but my goal is to hire better people than me all the time and pay them what they're worth. And I hear this a lot too. I can't afford, I had two interviews, and this guy's 17 and this guy's 20. I can't afford that guy for 20. And I'm like, but what if he's 30% better than the guy at 17, and he stays with you and he represents your company well, and he's a high quality individual, and he takes good care of your equipment, and he can talk to your customers on his site, and he can train your new guys. He's not worth $3 an hour more. I just can't afford him. I'm like, I don't know you can afford to hire the guy for 17 either. You can't afford either of them then, because you have to have, I believe that good people pay for themselves. And, I can tell you there's been so many guys that we've hired that I said I can't afford, and they've been absolutely game changers in our company. I remember our first account manager. I'm like, oh my God, I can't afford to pay this guy. Like, that's I think I paid him more than I was making at the time. And it was like, and then he gets in and he's just amazing. He's still with us today at 17, 18 years. And it's like when you're, a couple individuals, it's like Tom Brady, right? That one guy leads the team to the Super Bowl. He leaves, they're mediocre or worse, right? Yeah. Sometimes one or two people are absolute game changers in your company. And so you got to find those people.
I love it, man. Well, I don't want to hold you any longer, buddy. I super appreciate you coming on. Where can everybody find you? Green Grind, I know you got that, but share everybody where everybody can find you at.
Yeah, if you're interested in any products, we got Ballard. Obviously, we sell a lot of accessories, so it's just ballard-inc.com. If you want to check out Perfect Cut, again, I don't own it anymore, but it's perficut.com. We got a great website. We got an About Us, and we really showcase our people more than our services, because I think that's important. Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. If you type in Ballard, you should be. If you haven't found Ballard, if you can't get me out of your Facebook feed, I don't know where you've been hiding. People are like, how do I get you out of my Facebook feed? I'm like, dude, I don't know. Sorry. Yeah, and we appreciate everybody that follows us, and we, the Green Grind has been, something that Leroy and I started, and I really enjoy it. And I've learned a ton, man. I learned a ton just talking to people every freaking time. That doesn't matter the size of their company. About every single podcast I do, I get down and I'm like, man, I got to do better.
Yeah,
I got to do better.
You and me both, buddy. You and me both. It's an honor to get to do this, guys. I thank you all for supporting and sharing the show and allowing us to have guys like Kory come on and spend some time with us. So it really does mean the world to us when you like it and subscribe and just share with your followers out there. So thank you for tuning into the show today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to Kory for coming on and spending some time with us. But without any further ado, guys, that's going to wrap this episode up. And we look forward to catching up with everybody here on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green podcast. It is an honor to have you listening, and we hope you receive valuable advice to help take your business to the next level. Don't forget to follow the podcast so you'll be notified when our next episode drops.